What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion, yeah. I feel like an astronaut in the ocean, yeah. What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion, yeah. I feel like an astronaut. She says that I'm cool. I'm like, yeah, that's true. I believe in G-O-D. Don't believe in T-H-O-T. She keep playing me down. I'ma play her for fun.
Hi, this is John Cullen. Welcome to another episode of Web of Deception. This is episode number 14, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jason Goodman. Jason, thanks again for taking time. Appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you creating this concept for a show, John. I think it's been really super excellent. We've been getting great feedback from people.
It's amazing. And, you know, it's interesting to me because like 2 weeks ago, we did the Able Danger show where we looked at Field McConnell and his relationship with David Hawkins, and the audience and the comments, man, they go crazy over this stuff. And I'm completely naive and knew nothing about any of this stuff. You know, I'm living in the jungle. You know, I had no idea about any of this. So it's fascinating for me to hear the story and to see how the audience is responding to this. So for those of you who are aficionados of the Able Danger, Field McConnell, David Hawkins backstory, it seems that there's a character here, this Timothy Charles Holmseth, who plays kind of a key role. And you've got a number of people in the thumbnail that I want to talk about because I don't know, I only recognize one of them other than the Black Widow in the lower left-hand corner.
You're talking about George?
The creator of the web. Yeah.
No, you recognize others. This is Trish here wearing a Hamas
that's the only one.
Scarf. Yeah.
That's the only one I recognize is Trish the Dish, who flew with you to England to talk about the thumb drive thing with WikiLeaks, but ends up she brings up the Port of Charleston when she gets to England with the WikiLeaks guy. So that was
but the purpose of the
Trish
trip,
the Dish.
That was a side benefit. The purpose of the trip was to try to see Eric Braverman, which we did. And it seemed
Where
like
was Eric Braverman? Right. Where is Eric
we
Braverman?
should talk about that. We should do an episode about Eric Braverman because he's still around. And I did run into Eric Schmidt, but we're getting off the topic of what we're going to talk about tonight.
I think we did. I think there was episode 3 or 4. I think we did an Eric. Where is Eric Braverman? Because that's why you went to England. That was the whole England episode. Was where is Eric Braverman? I think we did.
But I don't think we spoke about Braverman. We'll check it. The point is,
who
every
else
week
is in the thumbnail? Yeah, I don't know who are these other. I recognize her. I recognize George Webb. I'm assuming the guy with the goatee between them, that's the Timothy
that's
Holmseth guy.
Yeah.
Right. So, I wouldn't recognize him if he's... Right. I recognize Phil McConnell from the show we did 2 weeks ago. We took a gap because there was that big Taylor Swift football game in between, right? So we took a week off because Taylor Swift was playing in the big game against some guys from San Francisco or something. And she won, which is fabulous. So congratulations, Taylor Swift. Who are the rest of the people here in the thumbnail? Who's that guy?
Well, this is going to be an incredible episode for people who have been following this saga because there's stuff that I have known about this for a long, long time that I haven't spoken about because, you know, people think, oh, you're holding out on us. But the point is, I'm embroiled in legal stuff that could cost me my apartment, could get me thrown in jail if the wrong kind of contempt of court stuff. So I can't just necessarily come out and say everything just because I know it. And sometimes I know things that I don't want to say because it's going to give some adversary in court an advantage. So for people who have been waiting to hear about exactly what the hell was going on, let me rephrase this. I don't know exactly what the hell was going on, But I know something was going on other than what they tell us. And I was reminded of this when I spoke to that guy, Elliot Park, on the phone. I don't know if you've been following the Robert David Steele counter lawfare reports, but Elliot Park was assigned to be, and this is relevant to what we're talking about because Robert David Steele and his lawsuit and all of these people, we're going to talk about how they relate to one another. But that guy, Elliot Park, I spoke to him on the phone and he said a bunch of stuff about Stephen Biss. Now, you've never seen Stephen Biss, right? Most people have not.
It's not. No.
I've been looking for images of this fucking asshole for 7 years, and I've found 2. This is from law school, and it's been tremendously enhanced with artificial intelligence because it was printed in a yearbook with that kind of like dot pattern, very poor printing. But that's Stephen Biss, and what's interesting is
he had a stroke, right?
He's had a stroke. Yes.
Yeah.
Stephen Biss is the attorney for Robert David Steele. So I first learned about Stephen Biss when Robert David Steele sued me. Now you're going to remember, Robert David Steele was introduced to me by George Webb.
And when you say Stephen Biss is the attorney for Robert David Steele, you're kind of teasing the audience. He's also the attorney for Devin Nunes. He's also the attorney for Bob Malone.
Dan Bongino, the Flynn family. But see, those people, maybe, look, people need lawyers, and he's there in Virginia.
What about My Pillow? Is My Pillow using him too?
I don't think so. That guy needs a real lawyer.
That would have been perfect. Yeah, well, that would have been perfect.
Biss is mostly a plaintiff's attorney where he's suing other people for defamation. So he becomes Timothy Holmseth's attorney. And the thing that's interesting about all the people that you just mentioned, Robert David Steele is definitely a massive loser, but he has a house and he has a wife who's apparently employed, and he was in
allegedly.
The Marines.
He's allegedly dead, though, right? He had a house.
Yes.
Allegedly.
The point I'm making is he was a guy who had, conceivably money. He had a house, he had a wife, he had previously worked for the Marines and the CIA, so he's getting money somehow. And so him hiring a lawyer maybe makes sense. Devin Nunes, he earns money from being in Congress and now for working for Truth Social, and his family owns a lot of cows. So him hiring a lawyer makes sense. Dan Bongino's on television, he gets money, that makes sense. But the point is, all those guys have jobs and money and potentially a need for a lawyer. Timothy Charles Holmseth is a dope who essentially broadcasts YouTube videos from his car, and he doesn't really have a house, and he goes to like the parking lot of McDonald's to get Wi-Fi because he's such a fucking loser that's basically all he can do.
You got to take us back to the beginning. All right, so first I want to know who are the other people in the thumbnail, just real quick, just a quick, 20-second on each one.
So you got this.
I don't even know who the hell this guy is. Like, who is he? Where's he come from? Like, why is he?
I don't really know either. We're going to talk about how he showed up, and it's related directly to Trish.
Okay, so we got Trish the Dish, who the audience knows you traveled to England with,
and she's ready to free Palestine. You got to put this in context for a second.
Back then or now? Is that back then or now? The free Palestine thing.
That's what's going to blow your mind. This photograph is from 5 years ago, and I just found it yesterday. I didn't know that she was free Palestine, river to the sea. And it's particularly weird because remember, George was saying, I'm Jewish and I'm doing something with Mossad. She was totally fine with that. If she's such a ardent Palestinian supporter, why would she be rolling around with an Israeli Mossad, whatever the hell he was? And also, I'm Jewish. Why? This just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And in fact, it's even suggestive that, maybe they knew there was a plan coming. I don't know. But she was wearing that stuff. Let's move on to the next person. Do you recognize this person?
Beverly Hills 90210.
No.
That's Tori Spelling.
No. That's another lawyer. This is going to explode heads. What we're going to talk about tonight is going to explode heads.
Before you blow heads, I don't want to lose the YouTube channel. So do me a favor. tell everybody they can go. People who are not yet patrons of mine, we go deep on this stuff, right? And like we just did a show Friday night. We got pulled off because I pulled a gun out on camera. Not allowed to do that. We almost lost our channels over it, so I apologize. But before we go too deep, we're going to go into a patron-only hour where Jason's going to talk freely about who these characters are, what happened here. So I don't want you to go too far with this.
Yeah.
I want you to set it up. But we're going to go to Patreon. We're going to go to Subscribestar. Then you've got a bunch of options. Tell people where they can go, because the Odyssey stuff has been holding up nicely for you. As far as we don't get stuff ejected out of Odyssey, it seems. No. So tell everybody about Odyssey, and you've got, what's that thing called? Substack? Tell people where they can go to find your work there, if you would.
Well, so what we're going to do is in just about 15 minutes, people are going to be able to join us for the sponsor exclusive segment by becoming sponsors of the show. And they can choose to sponsor you, John, on subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen or patreon.com/IamJohnCullen. There will also be a simulcast on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth. And thank you for mentioning it. It is resistant to censorship, and they also don't like George's brother and his nonsense because he's just hammering the crap out of them and frankly, I suspect he might have alerted YouTube. Maybe they have artificial intelligence to detect a gun. I don't think it could be that accurate. Well, you got a blurry image and things moving around, things look like guns. I think somebody called them.
It's both. Yeah, probably
maybe.
Both. But all right, so you've got these options. You've got Odyssey, you've got Substack, you've got Patreon, you've got Subscribestar, and basically you go to the website /crowdsourcethetruth, and for $5 a month. I think you've even got like a $3 option.
Odyssey, $3.
Yeah. But for $5 a month, you can support Jason's work. It's basically $54 a year. There's like a 10% discount if you sign up for the whole year. On Patreon. And the work that Jason's doing, you get access to his lawfare and counter lawfare reports. Jason goes out on the road down to the courthouse, and it talks to
maniacs.
Dershowitz from Harvard. Next thing you know, Dershowitz is on the show, and Jason has had Senator Marsha Blackburn on the show with Charles Ortel. So there's a lot of really deep stuff that you guys are missing. The work that you do with Lee Stranahan, and you can access all that if you go to the Crowdsource the Truth stuff. If you subscribe to me, you just get my crazy COVID crap and my Vegas stuff.
No, it's an excellent.
You're not gonna.
Excellent
but
value.
that's all you get. So the point is, we're here to talk about you.
Oh, this is the video that was pulled, John. People can still see it on Odyssey.
Yeah, and it was a good conversation. Like
it was.
All I did was I held up a .22 caliber rifle and then a .22 caliber pistol, but there are rules on YouTube, which makes sense to me, by the way. And I want to thank the YouTube guys for being reasonable. They didn't give me a strike on my channel, and they said, listen, you probably didn't know this, but
maybe it's a new rule.
I don't know about that, but you and I didn't know what it was. We were like, what the hell, what did we do wrong? And when I read the email from them, they said, you're not allowed to show a gun on camera during a live stream. And when I thought about it for a second, it actually makes sense, because they don't know. You could accidentally blow your hand off.
Well, I think it's more about these people charging into schools and live streaming a murder spree and whatever, and it's just like, forget it.
Yeah, Bo, that's obviously the extreme. But if people are live streaming and they're handling guns, you could accidentally blow your hand off in the midst of the live stream, and that would be pretty disgusting. So it makes sense to me. It's a smart rule. The fact that I would have to post a video with gun content that their engines can check and make sure nobody lost any hands or whatever. Nobody got shot.
But now they'll say, oh, you posted a video that we already took down, so now we're taking it down for that. So I don't know.
I understand the rule. I'm grateful to them that they didn't give us a strike. So again, when they're kind, I've got to acknowledge it. So thank you, YouTube, for being reasonable. Well, all right. So, but yeah, if you guys support my work, you're really only going to hear about an avian influenza pandemic that made eggs $10 a dozen, because that's pretty much all I talk about now, are chickens and eggs. That's it. And, why are eggs $8 and $10 a dozen?
I had
don't
eggs
really
for breakfast.
care that much.
I was thinking about you.
Yeah, I put SARS-CoV-2 and COVID in the same bucket as Rocky Horror Picture Show.
You don't like it.
It just does. I'm not that interested in it. It's like, I'm just not that interested. It's just like, everybody wants to talk about raccoon dogs and pangolins and bats and Wuhan. How long have I been saying Wuhan schmoohan? Would you say it's 3
Since
years,
the beginning,
3.5 years?
pretty much.
Pretty
Close to the beginning.
I'm just not interested in Wuhan and that whole thing. I'm interested in the chickens. If a chicken burrito at El Pollo Loco
let me
is
take you back to this, because we spoke
I'm
about
gonna
this
get
for
upset.
2 hours last night. So hang on.
All right.
Let me take you back to this, because there's still people here that you are not familiar with. This,
I have no idea. Yeah, who's
people are going to go crazy. This is Kim Picazio, the lawyer.
What?
So, are you aware of what happened to Phil McConnell?
Whoa. Kim Picazio?
Yeah.
Who is Kim Picazio?
So Kim Picazio,
I know the name. It's like it just went ding, but I don't know who it is. Who is Kim Picazio?
So she's a
Why do
lawyer.
I
I think
recognize
I've
the name?
told you about her before, because she was representing the mother of this child, this like 4 or 5 year old baby that was kidnapped and killed. And so Holmseth says, hey, I'm a YouTube independent journalist covering this kidnapping story. And he contacts Picazio. And she starts talking to him like, yeah, because she's the lawyer representing the mother. The baby was taken from the father's house. The mother and father are separated. And the father had a girlfriend who may have been underage at the time. I don't want to say anything inaccurate. All of this has been written up in local news. And this girl's name was like, I forget her name, but a lot of people know about this.
Let me test
story.
my understanding. So where is she? You said did you say she's in Florida,
Haley
or did I
Cummings
guess
or
that?
something is her name? Florida,
Okay,
yeah.
but this is in Florida. Okay, because she looks like Pam Bondi a little bit, so I just thought Florida. So some family has their kid kidnapped, allegedly, and this lady is representing somebody in the family. This YouTube character gets involved or inserts himself in it. Do you have any idea who he is, and what is the connection between the Timothy Holmseth and the George Webb?
He's essentially a YouTuber. He presents himself as a YouTuber, just like you or I, and this story comes across his level of interest. Interesting that it's updated at 606. Isn't that a 33? But 13 years later and unsolved. Unsolved? Wait a minute. I spoke to some of the police involved in this, and they said, unsolved. Wait, that's weird. A lot of people already know about this story, but essentially what was going on is, as I've been told, it's been reported that members of the father's family were allegedly involved in selling drugs, maybe some kind of fentanyl patch or something. They're involved in selling drugs. They're doing drugs, and they live in a trailer. And this 4-year-old child is sleeping on a mattress or in a crib or something in the same room as the 16 or 17-year-old girlfriend of the 30 or 40-year-old father. And the father's not there. It's the baby and the girlfriend in the trailer, and the story is she goes missing. The 16-year-old chick says somebody came into this thing that's the size of an Airstream or something and took this baby, and she didn't notice, and it's kidnapped. But through the trial, then the girlfriend and the father get arrested for selling drugs. And then in jail, there's a news story that says that she admits that her brother helped her put the dead kid in a bag and put the bag in the river, because apparently the baby got touched fentanyl or got drugs, or it's unclear exactly what happened, but it's alleged that the child was placed into a bag and tied with a piece of rope to a buoy in a river behind the trailer. And the police found the rope tied to the buoy, but it was frayed, as if perhaps maybe an alligator ate whatever injured or dead child was allegedly in a bag, and the police matched this section of rope to another piece of rope in the brother's truck. So it seemed to be pretty clear that some drugged out stupidity resulted in this baby dying, and
Holmseth inserts himself in this and contacts the lawyer, and that's how this begins. But
well, this is the whole story.
To...
So the part I'm saying about the police finding the section of rope and it being presumed that the child was eaten, that happened later. While she's missing and kidnapped, this becomes a story, and people are reporting on it on YouTube and elsewhere. So Holmseth becomes involved, and he's talking to Kim Picazio, just getting the facts and whatever. And at some point during his communication with Picazio, he starts to weave a tale that I have not seen any evidence to support Holmseth's story, but he starts falsely alleging, to my knowledge, false, that Picazio is somehow involved in the disappearance of the kid, and that her law firm is a front for child trafficking. There's basically no evidence of this that I've seen. Now, I'm going to reveal something about Kim Picazio in the sponsor exclusive section that I don't think anybody in the world, except probably her, well, no, there's going to be a limited number of people who know this, but not too many people know this. And if you've been following this crazy story of Timothy Holmseth and Field McConnell and Kim Picazio, the stuff that we're going to talk about and the facts and details that I'm going to reveal are going to blow people's minds. Okay?
Now you've also got Montegraph up there, right?
Yes.
Is that Montegraph?
That is Montegraph.
How the hell's he involved? All right, so he made some really creepy video that you played for us a couple weeks ago that was almost the combination between his psychotic video and then the one you played from George's brother. It was like, one of these guys all go to some sort of MK Ultra school of lunacy? I mean, maybe. What are they doing? I mean, are they doing mushrooms and LSD and then making these videos together? Well, I think they're
mentally ill. And that's why, listen, if you wanted to have a very peaceful nation, but you realize that there's criminals and bad people, you can't have every intellectual and every soft-spoken, polite person in the army. You need some rough and tough killers, right? So when you identify a psychopath, someone who is so, will do things that other people won't do, don't you think maybe you have a use for that person? Take them.
You guys got to go back and watch these episodes that we've done in the past. Episode 4, 5, 6, where Jason shares some of these videos where he's being basically, it's like, I would call it psychological warfare. I mean, they're deploying psychological warfare to try and get Jason to shut this thing down, to stop doing what he's doing. And, shy of holding a gun to your kid's head. I mean, this is some of the creepiest, spookiest stuff you've ever seen. And they sue you. And they keep suing. It's like it is one hell of a burden to have to carry on your shoulders. And that's why we're so grateful to the sponsors, because without them, there's just no way. I mean, this is costing Jason a lot of money to do this. And we're incredibly grateful to the sponsors. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to heat up our beverages. We're going to go out with our title roll so that you guys can see the credits and all that, so that you know where to go to sponsor us. And we'll be back with our patrons in just about 5 minutes to get deeper into this Timothy Holmseth and the rest of this web of characters from our web of deception. I'm John Cohen. Thanks for joining.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Yeah. What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. She says that out in the drought. No flow rain was pouring down. See that pain was all around. See my mom was kinda loud. Didn't know which way to turn. Flow was cool, but I still felt burned. Energy up, people feel my surge. I'ma kill everything like this burn.
One small step for man.
What you know about rolling down on the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion, yeah. I feel like an astronaut in the ocean, yeah. What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion, yeah. I feel like an astronaut in the astronaut.